All right, welcome back to Calhoun County's Most Wanted, the program where you get to help us make Calhoun County a better and safer place by helping us lock up some bad guys and solve some crimes. I'm your host, Chris Wright, along with John Garlick from the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office. Good to see you, John.
Good to see you, Chris. Glad to be here.
Mm-hmm. And we've had a good week.
Oh my gosh, we had a good week. Let's look at the numbers because I think this is like one of the best weeks. We had like 9 arrested, and we're up to 3,746 people made accountable for their actions by the good citizens.
Yeah, sometimes you get slower on these numbers during the summer, not as many people watching television and such, but right now our viewers are just really doing a great job.
And you know, from the Crime Stoppers side, when the tips come in, we've had quite a few tips this month, but I think our ratio of tips versus tips that actually panned into an arrest were much bigger in the month of June. We had some pretty good stuff, including one that was from the time I got the tip while I was out of town and talked to our sergeants on duty, it was 10 minutes.
Wow. We can't guarantee that always happens, okay? Sometimes
really
it's going to be longer than that.
Yeah, but I was amazed. Our guys are good. The tipsters are great. The people calling in. So it's a good partnership and yeah, excited.
Very cool. All right, let's talk about something that a lot of people are excited about right now, and it's causing a little bit of a public safety concern, and that's this new game, Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go.
Which I'm sure you're playing, right?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Pokemon. I have no idea.
Yeah, I've got a 9-year-old at home. He loves Pokemon. This game just came out recently, and basically it takes this game that he's been playing on his video game systems and stuff and playing with cards, and it puts it on the phone with the GPS capabilities of your phone so that you can go out in the real world and these Pokemon monsters kind of show up everywhere and you try to catch them. Oh. It's really fun. He's loving the game. And it's something neat that he and I have been able to go out and do together. I can drive him out to some places where he can, play the game. Mm-hmm. And it's really good in that way, but it's also causing some people to do things they wouldn't normally do out in public, which is not always good.
So they're walking around with their phone, they're looking at their phone, and they're going wherever this creature from the old card game is.
Mm-hmm. And they're not paying attention to what they're doing, their surroundings around them as much, mm-hmm. and they're maybe going to places that are not public, maybe going on somebody's private property to try to catch a monster, or parking right in front of their house, and homeowners are going to be concerned about this.
Oh yeah, if somebody comes walking up to my window any time of day and is standing there looking at their phone or holding it up toward my window, I'm going to be a little concerned.
They probably look like they're taking a picture inside your house.
Even more concerned. Yeah, I can see where that's going to cause some problems.
So this is something that's going to be around, but everybody just needs to be aware that when you're playing this game, if you're going to be doing this, you still need to act in public the way you would normally act. Don't do things that you wouldn't normally do.
Well, we don't want kids looking at their phone and crossing in front of a car.
Right.
So this is a game that, although it sounds like it promotes parent-child togetherness in the outdoors, which is a good thing, parents better be hyper-vigilant and as to where they're going and what they're doing, otherwise bad things can
happen. And there are adults playing this game as well, and we have instances that have been reported already where you've had people luring, they know where one of these monsters is in the game, and they go hide out and wait for somebody to show up and steal their phone or worse.
Oh, sure, because here it's kind of focused toward kids, and they already know where this little monster is, and those kids are going to be coming.
Right.
Oh yeah, it won't take long for predators to take advantage of that.
So if your kids are playing Pokemon Go, just make sure that they know how to act appropriately, and if they're not old enough, some adult supervision is going to be needed when they're out in public.
Yeah, we're going to hear some more about this, I'm afraid.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the first half of this week's lineup here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
The Ford brand has always brought you impressive style and legendary quality, and Sonny King Ford brings you the lowest price and the largest inventory, new or pre-owned. The new 2015 F-150 gets the best gas mileage of any truck without giving up its powerful towing capacity. The iconic new 2015 Mustang, with its classic pony car looks and hunkered down stance, preserves a legacy that defines American motoring. For over 93 years, Sonny King Ford, for the best cars and best price.
Amazing grace.
How sweet the sound that saved
a crackhead,
drug addict,
alcoholic,
meth freak,
a wretch.
like me.
I once was
homeless,
broken, sad,
just lost. But now I am sober,
happy.
I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Every day, shattered lives are restored thanks to the goods you donate to the Salvation Army.
Hi, I'm Katina Houston Stroud with Family Links, and this is the Family Tip of the Week. I've never met a highly successful person who doesn't regularly set personal goals. Goals are critical. They keep you focused on what's important and allow you to make the best use of your 24 hours each day. When tackled correctly, they force you out of your comfort zone and help you grow more than you would without them. Perhaps most importantly, setting goals gives us control of our destiny. Just by setting a goal, you're taking an active role in driving new and better results in your life. And what could be more important than that? So teaching our teenagers to set goals effectively can be life-changing. However, as we teach goal setting to our children, we need to make sure we're showing them how to use goals to have the greatest possible positive impact on their lives. Here are a few tips for starting the process. Number one, it must be on their terms. The most important thing to remember is that these are their goals and not yours. One of the biggest mistakes many parents make is wanting their children to live in their images and in alignment with their definitions of success. In doing so, these parents unconsciously push their children down inauthentic paths that will surely result in reduced success and meaning from life. Number two, connect their goals to the ultimate currency, which is happiness. What we want for our children is happiness on their terms. Now, what does happiness mean? Is it financial success, simply having fun, or is it much deeper than that? If we want our children to be happy in life, we want them to have some fun along the way. More importantly, we want them to do what they love by focusing on things that mean a lot to them with people they want to be around, and then later earning money doing what they love. Number three, help them frame their lives. Every year we ask students to share their dreams and goals. Almost invariably, they focus on planned professions from athletics to music and medicine to law. And because of the extrinsic nature of our society, it's easy to get very narrow with our vision for life and lose some sight of crucial components to our happiness. One of the first things you want to do is help your teens frame their lives. Walk through them a simple list of life priorities, which might include things like family, friends, faith, health, education, profession, wealth, and social impact. Ask them to consider all these areas as they think about and plan for the future so they can set goals that will provide the greatest benefit to them. I suggest having them identify their top 2 or 3 to get started, and this will help them stay focused on a few areas and get some early wins and set themselves up for larger and greater success in the future. These are just some pointers to begin. Remember, we all want what's best for our kids. Teaching them to think in terms of setting and accomplishing goals will help them become their own best sources for fulfillment and provide the recognition that they control the outcomes in their lives. Through smart goal setting for teens, we can give our children the most important gift any parent can give, the ability to thrive in life without us. For more tips, contact Family Links at 256-820-5911.
And welcome to this week's edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. First up in our lineup this week, Nathaniel Donahue. Mr. Donahue, last known to be living in Oxford. He's wanted for possession of marijuana first and use and possession of drug paraphernalia. And meet Dambrucus Davis. Mr. Davis, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for failure to pay child support. The face of a deadbeat dad. And this Jerry Martin. Mr. Martin, last known to be living in Weaver. He's wanted for probation violation on possession of a controlled substance and failure to appear for child support, another deadbeat dad. And we'd like you to meet Lisa Hanna. Miss Hanna, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted for failure to appear on attempted burglary, third. And here is Brian Blair. Mr. Blair, last known to be living in Ohatchee. He's wanted for failure to pay on manufacturing a controlled substance. And last up in the first half of our lineup, Lewis Hawkins. Mr. Hawkins, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for probation revocation on receiving stolen property, third. And that's it for the first half of our lineup. Stay tuned for the second half later in the show.
More bad guys coming up in just a minute, but John, as hard as it is to believe, and we don't want to believe it, the summer is already over half over, and we're getting ready for the next school year.
That's right. School year is coming up, and to that end, we have some wonderful school people here.
Banyan Allison and Randy Reeves from the Calhoun County School System. Good to see you guys.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so the reason that you're here today is specifically to talk about some new cameras on our school buses, right?
That's correct. Our Board of Education, along with our Superintendent, Mr. Dyer, and Ms. Paris, our CSFO, have authorized our newly arriving fleet of buses to have stop arm cameras on them, and hopefully we can use them to make our children safer and possibly deter and even catch people that are passing the buses illegally.
Has this been a major problem with people ignoring the stop signs, the stop arms on the buses?
Well, actually it has. We do a snapshot once a year, just one day out of the year in the spring. And in Calhoun County alone, just our system, we're not talking other school systems, we had 7 and 6 in 14 and 15. With that being said, in the state last year, we had approximately 1,600 illegal passings on one day and 1,500 in school year 15. So you multiply that by roughly 132 systems in one day, that's up into the thousands. Yes, it is a problem that needs to be addressed.
I mean, you've got numbers like that, eventually a kid's going to get run over.
Eventually, you know, many years ago, I used to drive a school bus, not in Alabama.
How many phone books did you have to sit on?
A couple, really. But while I was sitting on the phone books in the school bus, I had a guy pass me on the left as a child was crossing in front of the bus to cross the street, and watching that happen in my mirror and being powerless to stop it was a scary thing. Thankfully, he slammed on the brakes when he realized what he was doing, but it was. There was a couple minutes there that was pretty frightening.
Now with these new cameras, if that happens, we're going to have video of this person passing illegally. We're going to know who they are and we're going to know how to get them.
Absolutely, we'll have them on video. In the past, we've had to rely on eyewitness accounts of our drivers, and a lot of times our drivers are doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're driving and they cannot identify the tag number of the car, and many times they can't identify the actual car because they're passing so fast. And now that we have the cameras, it will be able to identify the person or the car that is doing the illegal passing.
Yeah, Randy, protection of the kids is the number one thing. You can't educate them if you can't protect them.
Exactly. That's the number one most important thing for our board and our superintendent is the safety of our kids. And that's, this is something, a tool that we're going to be able to utilize that is going to, not necessarily that we're trying to punish people, but we want to educate the public, let them know that, hey, this can be an issue, and it is a safety issue for our kids, and people need to learn.
Speaking of learning, let's do a little bit of that learning right now here on the show. What are some of the things that people think are okay, but really aren't when dealing with school buses?
Well, what happens at my experience is they get behind a bus, and most people don't set out to illegally pass a bus, but they simply get impatient, and they think the bus is about to start or not, or about to stop or proceed, and they start passing around the bus, and all of a sudden the bus has another stop. They throw out the stop sign, and they're caught in an illegal passing situation. But at the same time, we do have people, not a lot, that intentionally, we've seen people make passes on the side of the road passing buses. And generally when they are confronted about this, their number one excuse is they didn't mean to potentially hurt anybody, it's just they got in a rush. And but most people, once they're made aware of it one time, they don't ever do it again because they realize that somebody could be killed if they're not careful.
I think
that one time could cost some child their life,
or more than one child.
Right.
A lot of times it's more than one kid coming off. So I think we all know if we're driving down a neighborhood road, there's the 2 lanes there, and we see that bus stop, we've got to stop, whether we're behind the bus or coming from the other direction. We have to stop and wait until that arm goes back before we start moving again. But what if we're on, say, a 4-lane with a divider in between? What's the situation there?
4-lane, that is a divided highway. The vehicles on the opposite side of the roadway are allowed to continue on. But if there is not a divider, whether it be a grass median, or guardrail, cement barricade, then you must stop. Basically, if the roadways continue and they meet, there's not something that would keep a vehicle from crossing over into the other oncoming lane, then you have to stop if that's the situation.
The idea is to keep, if you've got a 2-lane road or even a 4-lane road with no median, the chance that the children are getting off and crossing the road in front of the bus is high. If there's a divider there, or a wall, or a median, or a rail, then the kid isn't. We're not going to let kids off and have them climb over a rail.
You always try to
across
set the
road.
routes up
So,
the best,
Yeah.
safest way to begin with, but still, everybody needs to use as much precaution as they possibly can.
Certainly.
All right, and when we want to talk, we need to take a quick break here, but we want to come back and talk about what this is actually going to mean to these drivers, even if you don't cause any injury. Once you're caught on camera, there will be prosecution. We're finding out from the DA's office they're going to take this very seriously, and we'll talk with someone from the DA's office here about that in just a moment when we come back on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
Ready for a new ride? Get ready for Rig. I'm Rig A. Marole, and I am ready with all the fancy jargon, made-up expenses, marketing gimmicks, and flat-out lies that you've come to expect when you go car shopping. You want to pay way too much for a piece of junk like this? Get a load of me. Rig A. Marole at your neighborhood used car dealer. I'll have you marolling off this lot in your new vehicle.
I'm Marty Boyles, and I guarantee no rigmarole here at Jacksonville Auto Sales. Just good cars and trucks at fair prices. We're in Jacksonville across from Walmart, or find us on the web at jascars.com. Remember, Jacksonville Auto Sales, home of the no rigmarole deal.
I have a lot of land that I have to keep up. I'd recommend Mahindra. I've never had any trouble with mine. Like I said, I do a lot of bush hogging. I do a lot of garden tilling. The service department has been great. Every time I've ever called or needed anything done, they have done it for me.
Hey folks, come see us at Foothills Tractor. We're your one-stop shop for anything you need. Locally owned, locally operated, give you the best customer service guaranteed.
Amazing Grace.
How sweet the sound that saved.
A crackhead, drug addict, alcoholic, meth freak, a wretch like me.
I once was.
Homeless,
Broken. Sad.
just lost. But now I am sober.
Happy.
I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Every day, shattered lives are restored thanks to the goods you donate to the Salvation Army.
And welcome to the second half of our lineup. First up this half, Candace Chastain. Miss Chastain, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted for probation revocation on receiving stolen property third. And this is Delantfort Whetstone. Mr. Whetstone, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for a probation violation on theft of property first. And take a look at Landon Snyder. Mr. Snyder, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for failure to appear on possession of a controlled substance. And take a look at William Snyder. Mr. Snyder, last known to be living in Boaz. He's wanted for theft of property first. And we'd like you to meet Brent Bailey. Mr. Bailey, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for failure to appear in possession of marijuana second. And last up in our lineup this week, Russell Metz. Mr. Metz, last known to be living in Oxford. He's wanted for possession of marijuana second. And that's it for our lineup this week. If you know the whereabouts of any of these folks, please give Crime Stoppers a call at 256-238-1414.
All right, we'll have the Crime Stoppers segment of the show coming up in just a few minutes, and also our crazy criminal of the week. But John, during the break, we swapped out Randy's.
We did swap Randy's. We have a new Randy.
Randy Muller from the Calhoun County and Cleveland County District Attorney's Office is here to talk about what's actually going to happen if people don't obey the school bus laws. So, Randy, bring us up on what the actual law says and what's going to happen if we break it.
Well, the law says that when a school bus is stopped and the arm is out, and it defines what an arm is, and we all know what it is, and that you cannot pass the school bus, either in the oncoming direction or going the same direction, even if you want to go, as Banyan said, on the side of the road to do that. You cannot do that. But like Randy says, on divided highways, there is an exception under certain circumstances.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we're getting these school buses that for the first time are going to have cameras placed there to watch when the arm is open. I guess the camera automatically starts videotaping when the arm comes open?
Yes, the camera will start videotaping when the arm comes open. And when a driver notifies the transportation department of Calhoun County Schools that somebody's passed illegally, we'll bring the bus to the transportation shop, or we'll go to the bus, and it's basically almost like a jump drive. It's very quick and easy to remove. We will, at the transportation department, we will look at it, make sure it's a viable a case that might have a viable video, and then we will present it to the proper authorities at that time for the legal prosecution.
Right. And from that point, there's one of two things that can happen. First is that we proceed under a criminal prosecution. It's a traffic offense, but it's got a graduated punishment range, the first one being up to $300 fine. Second time offense, you include 100 hours of community service, plus a loss of a license for 30 days, and a higher fine. The fourth offense is even a higher fine, 200 hours of community service, and loss of license for 90 days. And I can't believe anybody doing this, but if there is a fourth or subsequent violation, you're looking at a felony charge, a year and a day up to 10 years in prison, and loss of a license for an entire year. That's on the criminal side.
And these are maximum penalties. In reality, has your boss, Brian McVeigh, said what he plans on doing in most of these cases?
Well, those are the maximum penalties. The minimum penalties aren't much better. As far as the community service that I've talked about and the loss of driver's license, those are mandatory. And the minimum fine period outside of court costs is $150, and that's only for a first-time offense. So we can hit these people, hit them hard, teach them a lesson, and hopefully get the word out. Now, of course, the purpose of us being here is not to make money off of this, as Banyan said, or get more court cases. We want to educate the folks that, hey, this is an option now. Be careful what you do, and be careful for all of our kids.
And of course, that's the charge if they blow past the school bus, but God forbid they hurt a child, then there's a different charge.
Yes, we're either looking at, I can't imagine this being more than or less than just gross negligence, so we're possibly looking at, unfortunately, manslaughter charges or just an assault, a serious assault charge.
Not to mention the loss of life or injury to the child and the damage it does to the family, to the individual involved. I'm sure you've prosecuted many cases where you see somebody who, let alone any punishment they get from the court, they've ruined their lives.
They have
already.
ruined their lives, and they've ruined the lives of the children on that bus as well, because think about it, you have a whole school bus of children that have witnessed this act now.
Mm-hmm.
So, very serious thing, and as you said, Banyan, it's not a made-up problem. This is something that has been documented for years as a major problem. 1,500, 1,600 cases a day in the state of Alabama.
Absolutely, and there's a big misconception. First of all, school buses are the safest transportation to and from school, period. But there are children that die every year, and the majority of those children, it doesn't happen when a bus has an accident and somebody dies on the bus. Most of it is just a freak accident when they're exiting or entering the bus, and most of the time it's from a vehicle that's passing illegal or doing something they shouldn't be doing. And it's most of the time it's a total accident, but it's an accident that can be prevented. And again, what Mr. Moeller said, we're not interested in making any money. We're not interested in putting people in jail. We're interested in saving the life of at least one child. If it saves one, and you may not know that child's life that's saved, but it's something that's very real, and a problem needs to be addressed. And I think Calhoun County Schools, with the district attorney's office, we're addressing that now.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And during the summer, of course, we have a lull. The buses aren't out on the roads. It'll be just a few weeks. Those buses will be back, and so we need to go ahead and start training ourselves to remember, hey, wait a minute, those buses are going to be back. We need to be looking for them.
Absolutely.
Stay alert, distracted driving, looking at your phone when you're not supposed to be, and there's a bus there, and it's bad.
Yeah.
People need to stay alert. Driving is a serious
And we know these kids are not necessarily going to be alert. They may be, as soon as they get off the bus, they may be opening up that phone and doing the Pokemon Go or whatever.
They might be.
That's true.
We adults need to be the ones doing kids need to be brought up right to pay attention as well, but adults, that's where the responsibility truly lies.
And teenage drivers. Just because you're 16, when you get a driver's license, you're driving a vehicle that can cause some serious damage. they need to be mature and alert.
And one of the other options we have, I explained about the criminal options, but starting this year, new law is passed for a civil option, a civil penalty that can be had in addition to the criminal penalty. Now that we have, I don't know if anybody here has ever driven through a town and run a stop sign or a red light or speeded a little bit and then got the ticket in the mail with your picture on it. That is now an option in the state of Alabama for those buses equipped with the stop cameras, like Banyan explained. So, and that's a completely separate function. So you can be hit civilly with a fine, and you can be hit criminally with a fine as well.
All right, so a lot of things to consider. Hopefully everybody will do what you're supposed to do and everybody will be safe and unpenalized. All right, guys, thank you very much for your time today. Good luck with the new school year, and we will be right back with the Crime Stoppers segment of the show here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
AOD Federal Credit Union. You already know their friendly staff and great loan products. So here's reason number 8 to choose AOD FCU, a new all-platinum Visa credit card. Call 1-800-637-0299 or visit AODFCU.com to start earning 1% cash back on purchases. Your good credit earns you a better rate. A new Platinum Visa card. Another reason you belong at AOD Federal Credit Union.
I have a lot of land that I have to keep up. I'd recommend Mahindra. I've never had any trouble with mine. Like I said, I do a lot of bush hogging. I do a lot of garden tilling. The service department has been great. Every time I've ever called or needed anything done, they have done it for me.
Hey folks, come see us at Foothills Tractor. We're your one-stop shop for anything you need. Locally owned, locally operated, give you the best customer service guaranteed.
And welcome to the Crime Stoppers portion of our show, where we ask you to take a look at some of our cases where we can use some information. First up on your caseload this week, between June 19th and June 23rd, this outbuilding was burglarized on Dove Welch Road in Wellington. They got away with a Suzuki four-wheeler. And sometime on June 26th, the trailer and push mower were stolen from this location on Oldfield Road in Jacksonville. On June 28th, the Pack-a-Sack on Highway 78 and Highway 9 was burglarized. Safe was stolen. One suspect was a black male. The suspect's van was a white Ford Econoline. And last up on your caseload this week, on July 2nd, solar panel and battery were stolen from the Calhoun County Water Authority on Rocky Hollow Lane in Jacksonville. That's it for your caseload this week. If you know any information about these cases, and we certainly hope you do, please give Crime Stoppers a call at 256-238-1414. Remember, we want your information and not your name.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
All right, our crazy criminal of the week is a real schmuck.
Schmuck.
Christopher Schmuck, to be precise.
Chris Schmuck.
And we do encourage people to learn about weapons, but he decided to give a gun safety training course to some kids while the gun was loaded.
Oh dear.
He's waving it around and doing all these things that you're not supposed to do. Oh, by the way, he's drunk.
Oh dear.
So his gun safety course, fortunately, the gun did not go off. Nobody was hurt, but he was arrested.
Good grief.
He was in possession of some illegal drugs at the time as well, and just
no doubt.
You know, gun safety course probably left to the professionals. We got any coming up soon?
We just had one in July, so there'll be another one in October, I think. Mm-hmm. So check our website. There'll be those. We have lots of people attend those, and they're very well. They're good classes, and we promise we teach you the right way.
And you don't do it while drunk.
We definitely don't do it while drinking, and the only loaded weapons are on the range, pointed down range, and you have an instructor by your side.
That's all the time that we have for this week. We'll be looking for you again next week, but hopefully not in the lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.